Hello, my name is Suk, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create programmatic SEO pages for your SaaS startup. SaaS startups are pretty great when it comes to creating programmatic content, just because there's already inbuilt wealth of data that's available, so you don't have to go find a data set yourself. As an example, let's look at TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor has pages created for things to do in Toronto, things to do in London, things to do in X sort of categories. All this data, they already have data on these locations because people book through them, so they know which ones are good, which ones are bad, and they can create pages out of them. So every SaaS startup has an ability and an opportunity to do this. So let me show you what we're going to be building today. We are going to be building vclist.info. This is a fictional SaaS that connects VC funds over to startups that need funding. So for this project, I created programmatic pages per VC firm. Let's see what the pages actually look like. So there's 3 sections. First is mostly about who the fund is, what they typically invest in, how many employees they have. Then there's startups that have that they've previously funded, and kind of the status of like if they're still going or if they've died out. And then the third section is just open job roles, if they have any jobs open right now. This one does not. And then a CTA, which is if you like this list of sort of startups that have been funded or this VC, and you want to be able to talk to this VC and pitch them, sign up for our product. And then this is where you will have the CTA of like vclist.info/sign up, and then they would sign up to the product. And then at the bottom here is we have dynamically being pulled in the related category to this related category of VCs based on this 1648 factory. So they invest in software development, venture capital startups. So these ones also are startups that invest in those spaces. In terms of programmatic content, you can kind of see what the actual the content, so the copy, you can see where the programmatic part comes in. So operates from this location, this is the number of employees working for them, and then running from, and then the date. This part is also programmatic, where 1648 factory typically invests in X and then Y startups. This part, all of it is programmatic, where we create, startup name is a industry startup is a business startup in the industry that creates, and then like what they do, this part, and then how much they get funded with. This one is there's no funding data, so that's why there's no number here, but if there is one here, but typically there would be like a 5 million, 2 million, that kind of number there. And then it doesn't have any employees because there might not be data in there, but some of the other ones have numbers in them. To take a look at another sort of page like this, there is Buddha World, same thing. You can see operates from a location, employee, and then they invest in a bunch of different spaces here. There's a ton of startups that they've invested in, and no job openings. And then like at the bottom as well, like internal linking. So that's kind of what the pages look like. There's about 400 of them, and we're going to be building this from scratch. Let me show you what the Airtable for the data set for this thing looks like. So if I go in here, so this is the full data set that I have. You can see kind of name of the VC fund, the website, the LinkedIn that they have, what time they were founded, country, location, and then I pulled in some images for them. So I created a script that will download all the images, and I'll show you how to do that as well. The startups they funded, the category that they're in, and then some formatting that I've done as well. But that's kind of what the data looks like. And then there's about 383 records for this specific category. And then another Airtable base that just has the startups, and then it links back to the VC table and which VC that has funded this. So 1648 Factory has funded these 4 startups, and then that's how this base is organized. In the next section, I'm gonna actually show you, we're gonna take this Airtable and actually show you how to build this out. So before we get started, I am going to be using Launchman, which is a new tool to create programmatic SEO pages for SaaS startups. We are currently in private beta, but if you do send me an email at sook@launchman.com, I'll give you a free invite and you can start playing around with it. Cool. With that out of the way. So what I did was I prepped a new Airtable. This one is smaller than the one I showed you just now. I've taken out of the 383 field records, I kept in only 5 or 6. For VC firms and then for startups, I have 22 records, just so it's easy to work with. In here, I want to show you there is all the same fields: website, LinkedIn, kind of the dates and the city that they're in. The funded startup field is a link to the startups table here. So that's how these two tables are connected. If I click on add ones, it will actually show me information that's in the startups table, right? And then the category, which category they typically invest in. So this is the data. I got this data, by the way. If you want to get the full data set, go over to venturestudioindex.com. They do a lot of good work where they scrape manually all the VC sites to give you the best data. So that's where I got it from. So if you download it here, you'll get a CSV of all the data that's there. Cool. So I'm in my Launchman. I've already logged in. So what I'm going to do is create a new website. And we're going to call this VC list demo marketplace for startups to connect with VC funds type. Okay, cool. So it's going to be VC list demo.launchman.site. Let's create it. We're going to start off with the first collection that is just VC info page. And so now we have to connect. So we're just going to be creating an info page that I showed you before, which is who they are, the startups they're funded, and then jobs at the end, and then the internal linking of like other. You may also like that section at the bottom. So the first thing we need to do is copy over our Airtable base key for the VC list VCs table, and then I need my API key for my Airtable, so I'm just going to copy that from here. So when I save this, what it's going to do is it's going to sync over all the data that is in the VCs table over to Launchman, and now we can start creating the pages. So you can see all the stuff the information that was over on that side, it's not here. All right, let's open up the page designer. So this is like a Webflow type page designer where you can create text, images, all that kind of stuff within the editor, but with the added benefit that you can now start using. So instead of using just launch factory, say who they are, startups they have invested in, and job openings. So because this is going to be at the top of the page as a title, let's enable Markdown and make this the title. So this is bigger now. It looks good, but the thing is this part of the text is static, or actually all of it is static. We want every page to have a different name. So it's showing us the preview of like 6 pages that we have, a page for each row. But if we scrub through, you'll see the same content. To make this more dynamic, we can use the merge tags at the bottom here. What this is showing you is the column name from the Airtable. So city, name, country, founded, name, city, country, founded are all coming from here. So what we can use is replace this value with the dynamic merge tag name. And now if we scrub through, you'll see the actual values are coming through. And we can verify this if I go and now I didn't maybe city, country, founded, like that. I should see if I scrub through the related information come through. So 2015, 2515 is in Australia, 25 Australia, and then scrubbing through, you can see all the data changes. So four-sided is in New York, USA, four-sided New York, USA. So there we go, right? So now all we have to do is just write in this content, and the programmatic Launchman will automatically replace the correct values in from your table. Let's take a look at what this page, before we keep building it out, let's look at how this page actually looks on the website. We just replace, I'll just keep these. And before we go live, we need to configure the SEO, the slug parts. So what the URL going to look like for these pages? For this one, I want to have /investor and slash. Again, I can use my column names from here as well. So /name. So I want to have /investor /4sided, which is here. If I just scrub through /investor /1648 factory and so on. You can probably do it for this one as well. VC list and then something like that. Name of the fund, so name and then VC list like that. So that could be the meta title. When I save this now, so it's going to update the collection plus also publish the pages. So go back, I can see the pages that were created. So there's 6 of them, and if I just click on one of them, there we go. So that's what the pages are looking at now. So it's actually showing us the correct, based on the slug, so it's showing us the correct name and then the information. Plus it's also pulling in automatically the related categories or the related VC funds that the person can look through. So this is great for internal linking. Cool. Now that we have the pages created, let's continue on putting the content in. So for the top introduction part, I want to have, so we're going to do name is a VC fund operating in, and then we can add in city and then maybe also the country as well, like that. And then they have number of employees working for them, and then what else can we show? Then we're going to do name has been operating since, and then the date that they were founded. So founded. There we go. So that's our top introduction. And then to show the industry, there's a problem in our data set. So if we just go here, there is category, but you'll see the category isn't showing up here. So we can't really show, for example, name typically invests in, and then we want to show a category here. Oh, it does show. It's just isn't formatted correctly. Like there should be a space probably between each category. This is surprising. I didn't know this would work. So typically invest in startups that are in the space. So let's say that. This sentence actually works, but this is kind of a little bit ugly with there is no space after the commas. There's an easy way to fix that with Airtable Magic. So if you go here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new field, and we're going to call it a formula. And what this formula is going to do is join the values that are in the category table with a comma. The way to do that is you do array join, and we're going to do category, which is the field name, and we're going to join that with a comma and then a space after that. So if I do create field, what this is going to do is actually going to give me the same list, but with a comma and a space added in between, which is great. Exactly what we need. So I'm going to name this industry. So save this. And I'm going to save this just so I don't lose the progress. So, and then come in here and sync the data again. So what this is going to do is going to give me industry, which has the correct data that I need. In Page Designer, I open it up again. And now I have the industry showing up here. Let's do industry, and then boom. So now we have the correct spacing between the name of the industries. So again, I can like scrub through It's going to show the correct industries. There we go. So now we have the top part done. The thing that we don't have, actually one more thing we're going to do is now add visit VC, and which is going to be a link. But in Markdown, the way you do links is you put square brackets, then the link should be inside the brackets. But again, we can use the Airtable here. So I'm going to put in website. So what this is going to do is this link now is going to go to the respective domain for the respective VC fund that we're looking at. Cool. So again, so save, go back and then check it out. So 1648 factory. So this looks good. And if I just click on visit VC, it's actually going to take me to the VC website for 1648 factory. Cool. And by the way, the front page is automatically generated based on the pages created. So this is already here. Cool. Let's keep going. Oh, now we have to look at, so one of the things is the page is pretty bare bones. There's no media on here. One of the easiest ways you can get an image from a website, I'll show you how to do that now. That's the easiest way to spice up your page. So let's do that. First, what I'm going to do is separate this part out. So I'm going to copy this part and I'll go back and put a new text, paste that in here. So we have two different rows. Enable Markdown. Okay. And then save this. So this is going to be Airtable Magic mostly. We have the website domain here. So for example, 2515.com. Cool. So we want to take a picture of this website automatically. The way to do that is there's a great little tool called screenshot1.com, which takes site screenshots with an API call. Let's see how. So I'm already logged in. So in the playground, all we have to do is provide them the site URL. So this site URL, if you put that in there, it will create a link for us. And if we execute this link, the response back is an image. So take this thing, it's gonna go do its magic and then respond with a screenshot of the website. So this one, it's not great. I think there is a way you can tell to wait X seconds. Not wait and delay options, yeah. So delay maybe like 2 seconds, because what's happening is like the site isn't loading. So if you do it again, yeah, there you go. So it just waited 2 seconds and then now the site is loaded because I think the animation takes a while. In any case, this is great. This is exactly what we need. So let's take this link. Maybe, yeah, okay. So there is this part right here is where the image, the URL is. This one here as well. And so if we replace this with our URL, say google.com, we should be able to then put this in the just run it in the browser. You'll see that the image actually does come back. So what we need to do is create a formula in Airtable that puts the domain name there, the website name, and then it just executes and then gets the images back. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so these are the two sides. Let's go here. We're gonna create a new formula. Formula. There we go. So formula, and then what we're gonna do is concatenate two things. So concatenate, what it does is you can build a dynamic string. The reason we need to do that is because we need to take the first part of the URL up until here in quotes, and then what we're going to do is put in website and then the rest of the URL. There we go. Okay. Quotes. Close it. If I create a field now, you'll see the URL that's created now is so 1648factory.com 2515 3D. So it's actually the correct URLs, and if we execute them, we'll actually get the image back. Now what we need to do is save the image that we'll get into Airtable itself. Let's first rename this column. It's our calculation. I'm going to call this image URL. Save this. Okay, so this is where the secret sauce is. In the extensions, add a new extension, and it's called URL attachment to something. Oh, here you go. Convert URLs to attachments. What this does is it executes literally what we want to do. Executes a URL, and then whatever the URL returns, in our case, it's an image, it will add it to an attachment column in Airtable. Actually, we should create that first. So this is where the images will go. Insert right, and then we'll create an attachment column. Call this image. Okay, so this is where the images should be. So let's go back there again. Convert URLs to attachment, add this in. Okay, cool. So to set this up, we just need to tell it where the URL is and where we want the images to go. So I'm going to put in VC in the URL field that we just created as image URL, and the attachment should go into image. Cool. Then run. Skip. No. So what it's going to do is, see. So it's actually already started. It's waiting to. It sent out a request, and then the images that are coming in are being placed inside image. Beautiful, right? Like if we had 1,000 rows, this will do it for like 1,000 rows. Awesome. So now I just click through. So this is image for Venture Studio. I guess 1648 Factory, 2515, 3D, Inotech, Q me now. There we go. Awesome. So we have now images as well. All we need to now do is bring this into our page. Let's do sync data one more time so we can bring the image in. So you'll see the images coming in. Oh yeah, here you go, image 0. So open Page Designer, and then now we can create an image. Put this here. And the source of the image now is image 0. Boom. There we go. Now we have images showing for each page. Fantastic, right? Save this, and we can confirm our pages. Wonderful. So the images are now showing up. The text looks great. We have the first section done. Let's try. So the second section is a little bit tough. So VC lifts, but not too much. So vclifts.info actually shows, maybe not this one, doesn't have any startups that they invested in. Okay, let's go to 2015 again. For this next section where we show this type of startups that or the startups actually that this VC firm has funded, it's gonna be a little bit more work, but let's go do some Airtable magic here. Okay, cool. I'm back in Airtable, and I have a linked field here. So a linked field over to startups in my VCs table, and it can have multiple records in here. This actually just holds the link to the record. If you want to show if you want to pull in the information from startups table into here, we can do that with a lookup field. So we can do add lookup field, and we're going to show, say, name only. So if I add one field, what it's going to do is it's going to look at all the linked records here and then pull in the name for all of them here. This is great. It kind of works, but the thing is, it's going to be a text field that has just a list of all the startups. That's not what we want. We want to be able to show the name, the description, and then the link to the website. So we're going to take a different approach. Let me delete this here, this one. Okay, and then we go to startups. I'm going to create a new formula. And let's call this formatted info, and create a formula. And we're going to do is we're going to actually create all the info that we need for this startup right here. And we're going to use that with concatenate that we used before, the concatenate formula, which combines a bunch of different strings into one string. The thing we're going to connect, or I'm going to use this as an example. So let's go back to and prop up my field. Select this. So name is a dash startup in the dash industry. So that's how we're going to start. Okay, let's put this side by side. And put this up. Okay, cool. And go over to, here we go. Okay, so concatenate. We're going to do name is a, I'm going to put spaces is a. Then we have end customer, which holds if it's a business startup or not. End customer startup in the, and then we have an industry. Space that creates just that. So that, and then description. Show a dot. And then studio. So studio is the VC fund that funded them. Funded them with, and we need the amount raised. So amount raised, $1,000,000 space. We're gonna do, again, name has a number of employees. There you go, number of employees. Fix that mistake there, so employees. Okay, and then the bracket to end it. So if this is good, if I create this field now, what it's going to do is it's going to create, okay. So it's going to create a full sentence based on the values of that record. So AdOnce is a business startup in the software development industry that creates this. Okay, so there's that creates smartphone advertising for small business. 1648 factory funded them with X million. AdOnce has 0 employees. There's a couple of things wrong with it, but we can fix that. That's not a problem at all. So comma here, and then we want to do a $sign in the industry. So I'm just going to play around with the sentence. This should work now. Okay, let's read a better one that actually has information in there. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's two. So Flamingo is a business startup in the software development industry. It needs a space that creates information sharing and collaboration platform. 2015 funded them with 13 million. Has 5 employees. Needs a space here. Take out the $sign, and that creates. It's a better way of reading it. Okay, one more time. Different one. Okay, Velio is a consumer startup in the software development industry that creates bicycle management platform. 1648 factory funding them with X million. There might not be an amount raised here, and Velio has 16 employees. So the ones that don't have an amount here, you can again use. So there's a bunch of rows that are empty, completely empty. So if there is no amount raised, you can just say, you can use an if statement within Airtable formulas to maybe remove that line or add in a placeholder value. You can just say they've raised some money, but I'm going to leave that empty for now. So now that we have the formatted info for all our startups, let's bring that into VCs. In here, we can use a lookup field like before, but there's a problem with this. If I just like enlarge this, there's a bunch of, the data is there. It's just that there is no spaces or new lines, which is kind of what we need to make it look good on our page. What I'm going to do instead, and this is the other way of doing it, is I'm going to use a a roll-up field. Roll-up here. Let's name the startups. So roll-up fields are specifically designed to format the results from a linked field. So what we're going to do is take the results from here and then add in a new line. after each result. So let's do that. Let's choose a field. We're going to choose a field formatted info. And the way to add a new line after each result is I'm going to use array join formula. And with the values, so these values are the funded startups values for each row. And we're going to do add a new line. So just do create field. You can see now the results are separated, which is kind of exactly what we want. Sweet. Let's bring that into Launchman. I'm going to create a duplicate, page designer, and create a new text. So in here, we are going to have, actually, let's move this up. So let me see what's going on. Oh, we didn't sync the data, so sync the data first. And so there we go. That's startups. So now the data is coming through. But again, it's like in a single line, but that's okay because we have enabled Markdown. So if we enable Markdown, the /n that we had is actually going to get parsed correctly. There we go. So now we have the description coming through, but we can save this right down here. Well, the first thing we actually need is the name of the section itself. So we're going to name this startups name as cool. That's the name of the startups that have been funded. We can actually make this look a little bit better by having a header name for each of the startups. We can do that. So save this. Let's go back to the startups formatted info, and in here we are going to do is name up top, and then I'm going to add a new line. Confirm change. So let's take a look at here. So even though, so there we go. So it's actually showing the name of the startup itself and then the description. But the other thing is because we've enabled Markdown on that side to make the name text look a little bit bigger. We're gonna put 3, so which is gonna make this the name the H3. Save this, confirm change. Come in here, we sync the data. And now if we see the data coming in, oh, we have the correct data coming in. It's just we need to put a space. So in Markdown, you put a space after 3 hash signs and then the thing you want the text you want. Sync data one more time. And if we did everything correctly, there we go. Now those are H3s. The last thing we need is a link to the website. We can again come back here and same drill, new line. I like to put 2 new lines, personal preference. And then we want to see is, so we will say visit say startup, like that. And then again, because this is Markdown, so I can use Markdown format to do this, put square brackets, and then I want a single bracket, and then the website. There we go, and then a single bracket close. Save that, confirm change one more time, sync the data. So we come back here. Now there's a single wizard startup, but if I click on these, this is for evenly, and then flamingo. Awesome, we just did it. Yeah, so this is the second section done now. So if we save this, go back and load up our pages, 1648 factory, we'll have who they are, right here, the image, the link to them, and then the startups that they've invested in, each of them like that. And of course, this one is auto-populated. So for the third section, the job section, I'll leave that up to you to decide on how do you want to implement it. But it can either be like this, where you have a separate table with jobs and then the VC that the job is for, and then you can use Markdown or roll up to bring the jobs data into VCs and then show them on the page. Or you can just have simply in here a text field called jobs. And then you can come in and say, job one, this job pays X, Y, whatever, and then use the enable markdown in Launchpad to show this page, to show this information in like a more formatted way. But yeah, these are the two ways to do it, and it's pretty easy to get it done. Anyways, so this was just a quick explanation of how you can use Launchpad to create a really powerful growth hacking strategy that can get you a lot of growth pretty quickly. Yeah, so if you have any questions, send them my way. I sent you over, I showed you the email, sook@launchman.com. And if you need access to the tool as well, I'll be happy to do that for you too. Thanks so much. Have a great day.